Okay, let's roll. Welcome to this webinar, Sunday School, that we are holding a webinar every Sunday so that you can put your team, your new team members in this webinar and have them understand more about building business, working on themselves, personal development. We have some motivational stuff and something that inspires you to move forward. And like I usually say, these webinars are not about any technicalities or how to work your back office, how the compensation plan works, and stuff like that. So this is purely about principles of life. And I think we all agree on a lot of things. And today we will talk about since there's always a starting point in everything, you got to understand the principle behind a starting point. And that is, there was a starting point when you entered the business area. Maybe this is not your first business. Maybe you've done business before. But you can go back and think about, you know, how little knowledge you had, how little information you had about things, and how much you know today, and how different things are because of that knowledge. And I like this slide that we open up here today because life is ironic. It's hard to understand and appreciate stuff or situations if you haven't been anywhere, if you haven't done anything. And since we're going to talk about the purpose and the meaning of life, according to Maslow, which I do, just as a reminder, so that because I know there's a lot of you guys still out there that has no clue about what he meant, what he's talking about. So, it's hard to understand happiness if there's no sadness and so on. And it's hard to appreciate good things if you haven't been through bad things. So that's a little bit today. And the theme of today, as you saw, is survival mode or surplus. Actually, survival or surplus. That's the theme of today. So the first slide, and you've seen this before, and that's okay because sometimes information, we need to go through stuff several times. I know because in sports, in athletics, there's a rule, and it applies to most sports, and that is a kid that want to learn a sport. That could be soccer, it could be ice hockey, tennis, golf, whatever. It doesn't matter what kind of sport it is. Has to do 10,000 movements of that sport until he starting to learn. Starting to learn. Can you hear me? So if you're going to play some golf, you have to do 10,000 strokes, 10,000 putts or 10,000 with the driver, 10,000 with the iron 7, until you start to learn how it works. Same thing. I remember I was on a coach. It was like a education camp for coaches in ice hockey, and they told us this. This was way back in early 2000 or late 1999 maybe, and they told us that the boys in the hockey team, or because there wasn't that many girls back then, but anyway, the kids needed to have 10,000 strokes with the skates before they even start to learn to do it. So do you think that applies to everything else in life? I think so. Not everything, but that's why most people living a miserable life. They don't have to, but they do, because they buy into what everyone else is telling them, what everyone else is doing. So they are like sheep. They're following the herd. And that's number one success formula. Leave the herd, because the herd is always in survival mode. The herd is always living, paycheck to paycheck and struggling, fighting, because they haven't really got the information yet, or they don't want the information. That could be the case, because some people don't want to be helped. And the second mode after survival mode, people, is this security mode. That is where a lot of people live as well. And it's okay. This is not a blame game. This is not to point out that someone is better or worse than anyone else. This is just the way it is. But the mode that people should be in, that's the purpose of being here, is surplus mode. You're gonna have surplus. I will explain. In survival mode, you live in just to survive, day by day. Security mode, you have a little bit better, but you're still in security, so you're scared of most of stuff. You're scared of opportunities. That's why most people say no to opportunities, because they haven't really, woken up yet. And 3, surplus mode, is where you actually have a surplus of everything. So you have surplus of time, you have surplus of money, you have surplus of knowledge, you have surplus of empathy, you have surplus of most of the things. But of course, we don't, get all these things at once. That's why the first slide is so important to understand, that it's hard to appreciate stuff until you went through things. So this is what we're going to talk about today, the 3 modes and what to do about it. So this is actually why I put this slide in. Is the other day I was listening to, I think it was Ern Nightingale, and he said that a guy who wrote a book, who had been studying many cases of mankind, and he said how to be happy and find happiness. And most people, they chase success. They don't understand that you can't chase success, because success will chase you if you do the right things. If you're obedient to laws, that what we're talking about here in these seminars, you will be successful. It's just a matter of just, following the laws. Anyway, so he said that to find happiness and to be happy, most people, they don't get it. They try to chase happiness and they will never become happy. And he said, the formula for being happy is to put your whole being into helping someone else. Wow. So are you in the right kind of business? That's what probably most journalists and government don't like our business. Maybe some people because they don't understand it, but maybe the people who understand how great of a business direct selling is, because you need to help other people to succeed, to become better, to start working on themselves, to have a personal development program, to listening to webinars like this, to acquire some knowledge so they can leave the survival mode or the security mode. And I don't know why. Well, I know, but it's not part of this webinar. But uh, why they don't teach stuff like this in school? So it's probably a made up plan. Anyway, so how to be happy and find happiness is to put your energy into helping someone else. I could be wrong. That guy who wrote the book, he could be wrong. But when I heard it, I said, wow, this is it. This is it. When you have a system to help someone else. But we all know, because we've been around the block a couple of times, that you can't force someone to be successful. The only thing you can do is you can give them the message. You can plant a seed. And maybe they're not ready. But listen, like it says here on the slide, don't underestimate the power of planting a seed, because you never know when it will grow and when it will start grow on them. So your purpose is only planting seeds. And what is it we need to help people with? There's a lot of things, but we need to help them understand that they don't have to live this way. They don't have to have a life that, whatever, the situation they're in. They can actually write down some of their dreams, if they have any. Most people have, because we were born with dreams. You know how kids are. They dream about stuff all the time. It's just when we grown up that it kind of took that out of us, so we became sheeps running around with other sheeps are running around, until we meet someone who have the the understanding, the knowledge, and the love to tell us what we need to hear, not what we want to hear, because we need to hear total different things that we want to hear. So people need to understand that dreams written down who become goals are very powerful to move people. Okay, so what have this to do with anything, Jakobsson? You're talking about stuff that's crazy. I don't understand. Okay, let me clarify. We talked about the three modes: survival mode, security, and surplus. We talked about find happiness and to be happy. According to that guy, I don't know, I can't remember his name, but I will find out if you want to know. He said that the biggest thing to be happy is to help other people become happy. Then you become happy. Isn't that's like Zig Ziglar's success formula? Help other people get what they want, and you will get what you want. We do that through this system. So you don't have to run around, invent everything again. So the system is a success producing machine. It's happiness producing machine, because the system, you put people in the system immediately at the first look. people will, if they have an open mind, and maybe they don't have an open mind, that's okay, because they will eventually, or they will say no, but you planted the seed in them. So even at the first look, you will actually start to planting seeds in people. And the second look is like watering that seed. And education is when the flower starts to bloom, when the flower starts to become a flower. And the system will do it for you. That's why we say, and everyone says that if you work the system will work for you. But you got to use the system. You will have to implement the system in your organization. It's just like that. You got to have the system implemented. That's why we talk about these webinars about getting leaders. No, this is about becoming a leader, but you're becoming a leader through your personal development, and to understand, to help people understand that it's the principles. It's the principles you have to follow, the laws. So we're not in the convincing game. The system is actually a sorting machine. It sorts people out. You put them in, you help them through first look, second look, webinar, education, event, and most of them have already made up their mind by then. But some people wait until the fourth block, and some people fall out. You're not in the convincing game. You can give a person knowledge. You can help them. You can do, but listen. Some people will remain ignorant because truth and success goes hand in hand, and it requires change. So you need to change stuff. So when people enter the system, they will go like, oh, I don't know, maybe I don't want to do this, or because their old thinking will get in the way of the new thinking. And these were also part of the process. Why the system is so good? Because we're producing. Listen, it doesn't matter how much money you make in the system. What? You say, I thought it was all about money. Well, then you haven't been on these webinars. Money is a byproduct of when people change. And if they don't do it right, if they cheat and they try to take shortcuts or they manipulate people, they will lose it in the end anyway. So it doesn't matter. You don't have to be the judge. You just have to focus on you. And this is so good because these three things are essential for people's happiness and their success. To get out of the survival mode, everyone needs an identity. Everyone wants to be recognized as a special person. That's why it's so great with the system, working, helping others, getting in the system, learning. The second one is stimulation. Everyone needs to be stimulated. It's the opposite of boredom. And I'm telling you, you work in this kind of business, you're never bored. That's the least thing you are. And then it's weird that we talk about security mode, and then all of a sudden security pops up. Yeah, but this is the positive security. This is the security people feel when they start learning stuff and they start earning money, and they feel that, wow, I don't have to be anxious about the rent next month. I don't have to be anxious about and they learn to solve problems. They learn to become someone. So these are essential. So let's go back to Purpose of being happiness. Purpose of being happy, I mean, happiness comes from helping other people. But you need to be the leader. That's why we have these webinars. You need to work on yourself so you can be the problem solver for your organization, for your team. Then you have to inspect the people you put in the system. So you put them in, it's like a tube, say, hey, come on inside the this wonderful business. I will show you. You put them in the, like, it's like going in a dark room because they don't know what's waiting for them. And you put them in the first look, and then you keep pushing them through the tube. Oh, second look, a webinar, and then push them again through, so you get them onto one of these webinars or something else, and then you push them again so they attend an event. And then most of the people, like I said, they will start getting it. But you need to expect that. That's your happiness. That's your key to happiness. Don't you see? But people are as happy as they make up their mind to be. So that's why it's so powerful to, if someone doesn't understand it, they don't want to do it, and you say, you just congratulate them. Say, hey, I'm not here to force you. You can come back when you feel like it another time. That's more powerful than try to convince someone. Try to start to, oh, more powerful. Say, hey, I'm not here to convince you. I'm just here to show you an opportunity, show you a way out, show you something that you can fulfill your dreams. If you don't want to be happy, joyous, and free and to fulfill your dreams, that's none of my business. Have a great day. Way more powerful, because they have to make up the money. It's like, I love Les Brown saying, he, I heard that many years ago, said, people convinced against their will are of the same opinion still. So you can't convince people. They have to make up their mind. And we talk about the Maslow's principle, that he says the meaning of life. What's the mean? Why are we here? We're here to become more. We're here to excel. We're here to conquer. We're here to create. We're here to be part of something. It ties all together what we talk about today. But most people, they live in the almost. I almost got lucky. I almost won the lottery. I almost made it in the business. I almost got that house. I almost bought my dream car. But the almost, you got to go from almost to utmost. That's why the people in the lower levels, the safety needs and the psychology needs of Maslow's pyramid, they are living a life of excuses. And they need to understand that themselves. They need to come to the conclusion that I don't want to live like this anymore. I want to move. I want to do something. I want to create. I want to have a better life. And then someone tells them, well, then you have to do this. And they go, well, I don't want to do that. Well, then you can't have any of the stuff I have, or the knowledge, whatever. You need to do it yourself. So they need to make up their mind. They need to go from the almost person to the utmost person, which is moving up the ladder. Go from a lot of excuses that they have. I was born in a poor family, that's why I can't be successful. Wrong. Has nothing to do with it. I was born in a rich family, that's why I can't be successful. Wrong. That has nothing to do with it, because we are captains on our own ship. We make up our mind what's going to be or not to be. So you can see it ties into The lower levels, they live survival mode. The two lower levels is survival and then security. And then from the third level and up, it's surplus. You start getting surplus in life. You start getting, and why are we talking about surplus? Why is that so important? Well, there's a myth or there's a lie flying around in on this planet, and that is that it's noble to be poor, or it's noble not to have anything. It's noble to, which is totally BS and lies. Is nothing noble about it. But still, you can't put your trust in your material things. You know the story about the camel and the needle. It's harder to get for a rich person to succeed than a camel to go through a needle's eye, uh, something like that. But it's really good because it explains that you can't put your trust in the material stuff, because if you do, you will not get the good things. That's why these webinars is formed in another way. Why is it so good with surplus? Well, answer that question. I will. Because when you have surplus, you can give it away. The people in 1 and 2 modes, they only have so they can manage themselves. They are so busy with managing only themselves, and hardly not even that. So when you are moving up and you start to following these principles, these laws, you will have a surplus. All of a sudden, you will have more time. All of a sudden, you will have more knowledge. All of a sudden, you will have more money. All of a sudden, you will have, knowledge of the principles instead of facts. No, all of a sudden, you will have um something to give away. That's surplus, and that's the purpose for everyone. Because it's the surplus that can help other people. So people are as happy as they make up their mind to be. It's a choice. It's a decision. It's a decision. You make a decision. You can ask 1,000 people, do you want to join me in this business venture? Doesn't matter if it succeed or not, because it's the learning. The first slide that I put up today. You gotta go through some things. You gotta learn through error, trial and error. So it doesn't matter. Nothing is carved in stone. That's why you can go happy through everything. When you understand this principle, it doesn't matter, because there's always another moment, another adventure. But you have to help people make up their mind. And the cure for everything is action. The cure for everything is taking action. So that's why we talk about the system, because that is a great way and an easy way, and it's easy to duplicate. You can tell anyone, you don't know, because you just recently got someone started, so you don't know everything. And if you do, fine, that's good, but it's the same principles. The cure for indecisiveness is action. When people don't have to know nothing about nothing, and when they take action, they're doing something good for themselves. Isn't that amazing? How action can be the cure. And that is why it's so important about the system, because the system is an action based movement. So you move through the system and you take an action and you help other people take an action. So this is the cure. This is the cure for people who they don't have belief, They don't believe yet. They will through the system. This is the cure for indecisiveness. This is the cure for living in survival mode. This is the cure. So the system will help people. But you got to have the system in place. And goals is what get people going. That is why the first question or the first answer to a new person that you can tell them, they will probably ask you, so have you made any money? And maybe you haven't because you're brand new. Then you tell them, no, but I will, because I wrote down my goals and I know that I will become successful if I do what the other successful people did. So you tell them that this is the place where they can write down some dreams they have that they want to fulfill. Maybe they're not gonna, end up achieving all their dreams, or the dreams they write down turn into goals. Maybe they're not gonna achieve all the goals. Does it matter if they reach 1 out of 10? Doesn't matter if they reach 3 out of 15? Doesn't matter if they reach nothing, but they get a lot of information and a lot of knowledge being in the system? And the answer to that is no, it doesn't matter. It's up to everyone to find out for themselves. So that's why you never should take any advice from someone who can't take it to the next level, who doesn't have the answer to the questions. So you need to go the extra mile. You need to, just keep going, and believe in yourself, believe in what you're doing, and help others to believe in themselves. Then you will find your happiness. Guys, see you next Sunday. Stay happy, joyous, and free out there. And most of all, free.